Hey, what's up guys, this is Liam or Weagle on your Overwatch, back with a new video. Today I'm going to be going through a Winston guide, and it's going to be all about jump initiation. We're going to go through some stalling tactics as well, and also focus fire, because Winston is one of the best heroes in the game, and the gameplay you'll be watching is actually on defense, which is not usually somewhere people think you can play him, but the principles are all the same. You just have to be a bit better at it on defense, and up until the pro level of play, he's pretty much viable on attack or defense if you use him properly. So the gameplay is actually Fritos, but I also play Winston fairly competently, so I'm going to go through the best ways to use him. So on defense, on Gibraltar, straight away you can see the enemy team are coming out where they normally do. Fritos decides to just jump in and go for the Mercy because she is the highest priority target at all times when you're trying to play as Winston. We managed to kill the Zen as well with the help of the McCree, and the Mercy goes down. Now usually a 1-for-1 trade is seen as a bad thing in this situation, but because he's killed the Mercy so early on, you get rid of that Mercy, she doesn't have her res, she doesn't have that available. And it also takes a long time for her to get out of spawn, whereas Winston, especially on this map, one jump and you're straight back in the action. So we call for a team back off, and then we get them into the choke point, which is a much more manageable situation than that initial part where they all come around the corner. So the Reinhardt decides to dive in. You can take out a Reinhardt as a Winston, why not? And the enemy team gets crowd controlled. Now, the reason that I made a point before about it's okay to trade 1-for-1 with the Mercy is that because she died straight away and didn't manage to get any value, she still doesn't have her res. Now jumping back in and killing her again means again she still won't have that res because she's died twice already. Now you may think, well, why have you just popped that ult? And honestly, just to keep yourself alive sometimes, or knock the enemies back, or even just manage them around so that they're not in a death ball or they're not as much of a threat. But we'll get more into trying to stall things out a little bit later on. Now back to the Mercy thing I mentioned before, and why it's so important to kill her and why the 1-for-1 trade really was okay is that again we're in a big team fight. Mercy's the only one alive, and this is the third push and Mercy still didn't have a res. So that is why these big important kills really matter. Diving a Mercy and getting a 1-for-1 trade is nearly always going to be okay. Of course you don't want to dive in and die, that's the worst thing you can do without getting a kill, and that's why initiation and timing come hand in hand. You have got to be able to make sure you initiate at the right time, or else things are going to go very badly for you. Now here is a concept I just want to talk about quickly because it's very important. Actually what should have happened here is the whole team should have pushed up, and eventually they did. I managed to come up and save Frito's life by freezing them there. However, when you're up in a team fight, even on defense, it's good to know when to push and when to back off. What we should have done as a team there was push in to confirm the frags, or kills, as people keep saying. What do you call them, frags? We call them frags, it's an old term, but we call kills frags are the same thing. Sometimes it's important to confirm them even on defense. Just don't overextend too much, because if they all start respawning, going to be an issue. So the big team push is coming in again right now, and the Mercy's coming in again, and she still hasn't got a res up, and she's not getting one off this time again. Winston again has managed to crowd control everything. It doesn't matter that he went off on his own. He isolated her target and completely destroyed the idea of them getting that res off. Now, one thing that people don't seem to realise, and it's the most important thing with Mercy, just having gold healing isn't enough. When you take Mercy over Zen, or Lucio, or Ana, what you're doing is you're having no DPS. That trade-up is no DPS whatsoever. So, you have to get the reses off. If you don't, you're not doing enough. When you've got a Zen on your team, he can heal, he can transcend, he can do damage. Lucio can boot people off the map, boot people away, he can heal, he can speed boost. Mercy's value lies in her res, and Winston can deny this very often if played correctly. Again, she's sitting back, she's obviously got the res now, she's waiting for the res, she wants to get it off, but the Winston dives, and once again, the Mercy's gone. That's what, 5 pushes with no Mercy res. That's no good for the enemy team. It's the end of the game. That's 4 minutes with no Mercy res. That's 4 minutes of basically 5v6 because the Mercy got absolutely destroyed every single time. So now we're going to move on to another defense on Anubis. Now this one is specifically more about stalling out. The first push, you'll see there's 6 minutes 30. We've been destroyed on the first point straight away, and they're all coming in already. With the use of the May wall, the Winston can get behind and force out the Transcendence, which is huge. He should never transcend in a situation like that. That is a terrible time to do it. He then comes out of the transcend, gives Winston the ult, and again, crowd control, knocking everyone around, no bulking up. The Genji's ulting, but the Genji can't kill anything because he's being knocked around. This is what Winston's ult is good for. It's not about doing damage or killing people necessarily. It's all about the control. So you'll see the Genji is waiting here because he thinks he can get the kill on the Winston. Wait a second, dive in when you don't expect it. Run back to the health room, you get your health back. I don't know if they should patch that. That seems a little bit silly to me, but that's what happened there. Anyway, so cleaning up the point, you'll see that the enemy team just didn't get the point. The Winston initiation jump again held the point, and they weren't managed to capitalize and win the game in like 3 minutes, which would have been hell for us. To compete with that and try and get it in the same time would have been terrible. The Transcendence comes in again, focusing the McCree, always a good target to kill because it whacks their DPS off, but they're winning again. But the Winston ult, this is why it's so important, is to pop it, knock everything around. They can't heal in bulk. The Genji can't do anything with his ult because he's being battered around. And then the God Rhine pin does come out of nowhere. But again, all of that stall value out of his ultimate, that is what it's for. It's not for killing things. It's not really for diving certain things. It's for splitting the enemy team up so they can't heal together. They can't focus together. They're all over the place. It splits up their defense. And more importantly, gives my team time to come back to the point and set up a defense again, which again, they're coming. There's still 4 minutes left and they're still coming for the points. So once again, the enemy team tried to push, and they tried to actually initiate with a Transcendence, which I split off as May. It gives the Winston the opportunity then to just dive what he wants. He tries to get the Genji, but it doesn't work. The enemy team have taken Farah for some reason. Now, if you're good at Winston, a God pin again, can you believe it? If you're good as Winston, he is a very, very good counter to Farah, actually. A lot of people don't see the things there, but if you can time your jumps well, maybe when she's already been hit by your McCree, you can get right up in her face, do some chip damage and just kind of punch her just before you die. Winston's a pretty good counter to, you will not pin us again, Ryan. It's not happening, no. And you can always harass a Ryan as well. It's going to make him put his shield up. He won't fight you in that situation because he knows you can just dive out of there. So again, harassment all over the healers, all over the Genji. It's not necessarily important that you just kill the healers either. Oh, get punched out the sky, Farah. What are you doing? Sometimes if a Genji is harassing your backline a lot, even though Winston usually would be jumping, initiating, actually he can be defensive in the way that he can deal with the Genji very, very well. If they're harassing your backline, you can attack the Genji, do some damage, he can't deflect it, and then when he tries to jump away or swift strike away, as Winston, you can chase him and confirm that kill. Again, it's not very difficult. Here you'll see there's more stall tactics on the point, and this is where stuff really does start to get crazy. There's only 2 minutes left. We've got the Transcendence trying to stop the point. Please don't capture it. Winston coming back in for more action again. Straight away, diving that Zenyatta. For I don't know how many times this Zen has fallen prey to Frido's Winston in this game, but it's not a good time for him. If you time your barriers as well, it's much more difficult. These pins are just godlike. How good is this enemy Reinhardt? Seriously. In these videos, we're not going to make it look like we're playing perfectly all the time. Everyone gets outplayed in all kinds of situations, and the Reinhardt was a real nightmare for the Winston here, but they still didn't kill the Winston enough. There was just too much hassle. So dive in a Roadhog, bad idea. Puts the shield down and decides to get out there because there's too many enemies. You need to be behind them. You need to be getting them by surprise. If you dive at anything as a Winston and they're in a death ball, you're going to get taken out. Again, see a Reaper go in the room? You don't initiate that as Winston. You don't, because a Reaper just has the advantage of you. But they're coming in with their ult again. Ultimate, bang, calls it out, Primal Rage. Sending everything flying everywhere. They can't capitalize on their ultimates because their Transcendence isn't healing everyone and their speed boost isn't speeding everyone because you're knocking them about and you're knocking them around corners. And again, trying to dive on the point, get a health back. The team's dying again and then waiting for the right time to jump back onto the point, do some damage, stall out, and get away again. He got pinned, but no, not this time, Ryan. 10 HP, the dream. And then again, They're about to capture the point. We're trickling. He gets another health pack. It's all about this stalling. Jumping the point once more and stalling out even more. It's ridiculous. Finally dying, but Tuka is there. The God Ryan himself on the point, blocking everything off with his shield, getting a God pin, as you'll see there, and just finally taking a Diva swap to get in quickly, just that little bit quicker, and to also block some damage. Managed to stall out the whole thing as Winston, and this is why he's such a good hero to have. He's great at killing squishies, he's great at initiating and also evading, his barrier is very useful, and the amount of stall you can get out of his ultimate is just ridiculous. So guys, I hope this play-by-play helped. If it did, let me know in the comments. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. You can follow our Twitter, our live stream, join our Discord and find people to play with. That's very nice. There's a lot of people, hundreds of people in there trying to find people to play with, so maybe you could find someone there and enjoy the game with a little bit more. I hope you all have a great day as always, guys. Take care and peace, people.